So as you all know, I've been pulling my hair out, and many people have been pulling their hair out, looking around going, where the fuck is the resistance to Trump's war on free speech, war on the First Amendment? It was really disheartening to see you had all these law firms bend the knee to Trump, all these universities bend the knee to Trump, like basically thinking like, oh, I'll play nice, I'll go along to get along, and then he won't come after me too hard. But no, the second you let him know that he has you, then he's going to slap you around some more and start demanding more shit every time. So the real way to fight him is to say, I'm not going to give a fucking inch on this shit, not even a millimeter. Fuck you. That's the way to fight him. So news outlets broadly reject Pentagon's new press rules. So the other day, Pete Hegseth said, he released this statement saying, we have a new process at the Pentagon now. And in so many words, he was saying the First Amendment is over. It's done. We're not doing that anymore. No more free press. So now, if you're going to, be in the press room for the Pentagon, you need to run every single thing you print by us. We need to personally approve. Anything you want to run in your papers has to get our direct approval. Okay, again, that is wildly illegal, wildly unconstitutional. It's like, basically you're failing like Civics 101 with this shit, but he doesn't care because it's all about power. That's what it is. It's all about power. And he wanted to control the narrative coming out of the Pentagon. So, but this is a rare instance where they're being held accountable. People looked at this and said, I'm sorry, bro, you're fucking massively overreaching. So take a look. Two conservative newsrooms, Newsmax and the Washington Times, so far have joined a slew of national news organizations in refusing to sign an agreement with the Pentagon that could limit journalists' rights to gather or report information not officially authorized for release. So do you understand? Even Newsmax and the Washington Times are going, we're not going to fucking sign away our First Amendment rights. What are you, crazy? No. Even Newsmax and the Washington Times, those are super far-right outlets. Newsmax had no problem denying the 2020 election, by the way, to show you how far-right they are. Press freedom groups have decried the Pentagon's new media restrictions, arguing they appear designed to stifle a free press and potentially expose us to prosecution simply for doing our jobs, per the Pentagon Press Association. The Pentagon unveiled new restrictions last month and said reporters would need to sign a pledge committing to its rules in order to maintain their press credentials. Last week, the Pentagon relaxed some of those measures after several weeks of negotiating with news organizations and press groups. The new rules clarify that journalists are not required to submit their writings to the department before publication, but threaten to possibly revoke their press credentials if they don't sign the policy. Journalists have until 5 p.m. Tuesday to decide whether to sign the pledge. Quote, Pentagon access is a privilege, not a right, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth wrote in a post on X on Monday. Now, guys, let me just say this. I said this in a different segment. I'm going to say it again. All these news outlets should say, yeah, you know what? We're not going to bother showing up here and listening to you bullshit us because every time you open your mouth, you bullshit us. They should say the same thing with the White House press briefing. No, I'm not going to go listen to Carolyn Levitt lie to our faces for the entire fucking time. Anytime her lips are moving, she's lying. We're not going to fucking listen to that. We're just not going to show up anymore because these people thrive on attention. They do. They thrive on attention. Trump thrives on attention. What would happen if he wakes up one day and it's literally only One American News that's there? He would fucking lose it. He would flip out. And he would desperately try to get that attention back on him. All these news outlets should have distance from the government. They should have a healthy distance from the government. And they should use that to be more clear, to be more aggressive, to be more oppositional. You understand what I'm saying? That like when you rely on the access, that's a problem. Because then like now there's this weird interpersonal psychological game of like, I can't go too far here or there, right? So I would listen to Pete Hegseth say this, Pentagon access is a privilege, not a right, and go, okay, we're just not going to show up. We don't want to show up. Over the past few days, editors from major news organizations have released statements explaining why their reporters will not be signing the pledge. So just to put this in perspective, the Washington Post, the Atlantic, the Guardian, the Wall Street Journal, NPR, Reuters, Newsmax, New York Times, Axios and the Associated Press, Washington Times, Fox News said we're not signing on. Literally the only outlet that I've seen that has signed on is One American News. And that actually surprises me because I would have guessed One American News and Newsmax would sign on. Fox, I would expect them not to sign on because they're supposed to, in theory, be like a serious outlet, even though they're not. But they want to pretend, right? One American News and Newsmax don't. But even Newsmax was like, we can't fucking sign away our First Amendment rights. So this is actually great news because it shows that there are some limits. And if this leads to literally only One American News at their shitty fucking, Pentagon press briefings, that's fine. Because, again, what is the Pentagon press briefing? It's the state-sanctioned lie session. Just like the White House press briefing is the state-sanctioned lie session. And so what's the point? Like, seriously, truly, what's the point? There is no point. Cover them from a distance. You'll still see what policies they're rolling out, what they're actually doing in the world. Cover them from a distance, and you'll actually get, my guess is, better, more accurate reporting, more fair reporting if you do that. So this is the first time, guys, that this is like a real overreach. I mean, I guess you could say, where they got caught, I should say. Like, I guess you could say with Kilmar or Abrego Garcia, that kind of happened, right? There was such sustained outrage over such an extended period of time that they had to bring him back. And then now they're saying they want to deport him to Africa, but apparently that is falling through too. So the sustained outrage showed them, like, no, you overreached and we're not fucking allowing this. This is another example of them saying, are you fucking stupid? Like, are you stupid? Like, you at least have to try to pretend to be serious about the Constitution and the United States of America. And if you're not going to even pretend, then even fucking Newsmax was like, sorry, I'm out this bitch. So that is something else. But I still got more for you because this war on free speech is real. So the U.S. revokes visas for 6 foreigners over Charlie Kirk-related speech. Now, by the way, these were legal immigrants. Legal immigrants. And 6 people got their visas revoked. Why? Because they told jokes about Charlie Kirk dying or quoted Charlie Kirk and the shit he said after he died. Like how he said, hey, some gun deaths are acceptable to have the Second Amendment. Republicans need to never, ever, 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 ever talk about free speech ever again. They never gave a fuck about it. It was always this branding exercise. It was always this like, oh, we're going to scream free speech if you catch us saying some dumb racist bullshit. If you get outraged over us saying some dumb racist bullshit, we're going to, free speech! We believe in free speech, and you don't believe in it. Yeah, I believe in it. I'm just telling you you're wrong, and here's why. But you don't believe in free speech. Some comedian said some shit, and you oppose it. Free speech! We're on the side of the comedian, regardless of how dumb or stupid the thing was he said. That's what they meant when they said free speech. But now that Trump's in charge, and he's signing executive orders to ban flag burning, which is literally a First Amendment issue, which the Supreme Court said in the fucking 1980s, that you have a right to burn the free speech, to burn the flag, because that's free expression. All of a sudden, they don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck. Deporting people for saying crass things or telling jokes, we don't care. We support it. Why? Because they made fun of Charlie Kirk. He's one of our guys. So understand, the one thing for sure that Republicans get, the Democrats don't, is politics is about power. And so they will cynically weaponize arguments, but they don't mean what they're saying. It's just useful in the moment, right? It's useful in the moment. So all these obstruction tactics that were used by Mitch McConnell when Obama was president, now if a Democrat tries to use one of those tactics, they go, how dare you? We would never do this ever. Like, what do you mean? You guys pioneered this shit. But all that matters to them is power. That's all that matters. And so now you know. They never gave a fuck about free speech. They never did. They never will. All these lawsuits Trump is waging against media outlets he doesn't like or that say mean things about him. If any other president did, if Barack Obama sued Fox News because they were mean to him, what would the reaction be on the right? We all know. Authoritarian, dictator, tyrant, totalitarian freak. Like, they would say everything against Obama, and they would be right if he was only suing them because, you said things that hurt my feelings. But Trump does it on a fucking weekly basis, and they go... So, definitely let these people stay in the country. For fuck sure. It's so crazy that they're gonna... And by the way, you already have law firms coming out saying, oh, I'll represent these people pro bono, dog. No problem whatsoever. Because they know, oh, this is a slam dunk case. Because it is the case. Immigrants also have free speech rights. I know Republicans don't want that to be the case, but that is the case. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So... You have all these law firms going, oh, slam dunk case, bro. Are you kidding me? I'm Jordan in his prime. I'll fucking make sure these people could stay here. So I hope that these people realize, take the case. They'll do it pro bono, means you don't have to pay anything, and then you'll be able to stay in the country. I know it sucks that they're making you go through all this shit, but you will win that case without a doubt. All right, but I'm still not done. So we also have this from Ken Klippenstein. Following the NSPM 7 directive for feds to focus on anti-ICE terrorism, the FBI and Homeland produced an intel bulletin linking anti-ICE protests to terrorism. So now, as you all know, what's the government doing when it comes to this NSPM 7 thing? They're doing a whole of government mindset change where they say, hey, don't focus on whatever it may be. Don't focus on ISIS terrorism. Don't focus on, far right extremism. What you need to focus on is anti-Americanism, anti-capitalism, anti-Christianity, support for the overthrow of the U.S. government, extremism on migration, extremism on race, extremism on gender, hostility towards those who hold traditional American views on the family. So basically what they're saying is if somebody's a liberal or a lefty or even just a Democrat, they're now suspected of potentially being a terrorist or aiding and abetting terrorism. If you're part of the No Kings protest, same fucking shit. In fact, leak. Feds think protests hide terrorism. No Kings protest eyed amid NSPM 7 domestic terror panic. So they're going to target every single mainstream Democratic group that's part of this, whether it be Indivisible or Move On, or Act Blue, which of course is just the Democratic payment processing for fundraising thing, the processor. And so understand what's happening here. This, without a doubt, is a war on the First Amendment. It's a war on free speech and free expression and free protest. And what they're saying is they're effectively trying to make it illegal to disagree with them. They're trying to make it you a criminal suspect or a terrorism suspect for disagreeing with them. I mean, again, just look at the list that they released. They released this. I mean, this wasn't like somebody dug it up. They literally put this out there. If you have anti-American views. Now, understand, what do they mean by anti-American views? They just mean liberals and leftists, right? They would call you anti-American if you're like harshly critical of some of the aspects of the history of this country. If you talk about slavery, if you talk about the Native American genocide, if you talk about Jim Crow, if you talk about redlining, if you shit on the Iraq war, if you take a left-wing perspective, they go, well, that's anti-American. That's anti-American. If you advocate for being a bachelor or drug use, like anti-American. This is how they think. If you're anti-capitalist, okay, well, again, to them, that means even somebody like fucking George Soros, and he's a massive capitalist, well, he's anti-capitalist because he donates to the Democrats. That's how they think. So if you're a social democrat or a democratic socialist, they literally cited in their goofy Antifa hearing that we're gonna look into the funding for the Democratic Socialists of America because we think they're aiding and abetting terrorism. They're coming for DSA, bro. They're coming for DSA, but like I said, it's Move On, it's Indivisible, it's all these just standard liberal groups that we're talking about. Anti-Christianity. So what, now you become a terrorism suspect if you're a fucking atheist or an agnostic? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That's like, I don't know the number off the top of my head, but it's got to be 20, 30% of the country that fits into that category that's atheist or agnostic. I mean, so what, Bill Maher? Is Richard Dawkins? Like, these people are aiding and abetting terrorism because of what their beliefs are? I mean, this is crazy. And when they say, hey, extremism on migration needs to be looked for, extremism on race and gender, that means if you're in favor of either open borders or even if you're just in favor of having like a regulated border, but with like altruistic, empathetic rules and regulations, they go, that's not acceptable. Extremism on race means being anti-racist is unacceptable. Extremism on gender just means you're okay with trans people existing and think they should get health care. This is what they're doing. This is what they're doing. And they're not kidding about it. So this, without a doubt, is a war on liberalism, on leftism, on the Democratic Party in general. And we need to make sure that they can't fucking get away with this. We need to make sure of that. So here's the thing. The last No Kings protest, there was 6 million, 4 to 6 million people showed up. 4 to 6 million. And they're out there calling it, they called it a hate America rally and a pro-Hamas rally. This is what Mike Johnson said. This is what other leading Republicans said. And so you're saying 4 to 6 million Americans partook in a hate America rally and in a pro-Hamas rally, in a terrorist rally. One of them literally called them terrorists. So we can't let this stand. And the more people that show up at the No Kings protest, the less able they are to even try to treat us all like we're fucking enemies. You understand what I'm saying? Like, they can't. They don't. If 20 million people show up, they don't have the fucking manpower to comb through all 20 million of us and say, see, hey, what do you do for a living? Where do you get your money from? How are you engaged in politics? They don't have the ability. And thankfully, this is one of those areas where I think they're so overreaching that this part will implode in on itself. I mean, stop and think about it. This is one of those things where the second it gets in front of any judge in the country, they're going to fucking laugh it out of the courtroom, right? They're going to be like, what are you wasting my time doing this for? Like, really? You think fucking George Soros's, like, standard-ass liberal fundraising group is like aiding and abetting the burning down of police stations and Antifa shit? Like, you're just making this up. Like, all this is fucking totally made up. You think the grandma who's at the fucking No Kings protest is somebody who's a threat to this country? I hate to tell you, the real threat to this country, it's Trump. It's Kristi Noem. It's Stephen Miller. It's Kash Patel. It's all these fucking assholes. They're the problem. They're fascist. They're un-American. And but of course they have to project it, and they say we are. So it's definitely a war on free speech, but I think the good news is I really think that they're overreaching in the same way that they overreach with this new media rule, which tried to get all the news outlets to sign away their First Amendment rights. They can't do that. They can't do that. You have to at least pretend to try to be in favor of the Constitution, and they're too stupid to do that. And so now they fucked around and they're finding out. And I think the same thing is going to happen here with these protests. And I think that, look, if all goes according to plan, and I hope it does, then instead of 4 to 6 million, maybe we'll have 8 million. Maybe we'll have 10 million show up at this No Kings protest. And like I said, they can't. What are they going to do in a scenario like that? Oh, you want to investigate all these people you think are funding terrorism? Okay, well, a lot of these agents need to start investigating their mom and their sister and their brother and their kid and your neighbor. And because, you know what? We're not, sorry, MAGA is a minority in this country. He has a 37% approval rating. It's fucking criminally high at this point for all the shit he's done, but that means the overwhelming majority are with us, not you. All right, guys, that's the show. I love y'all very much, man. You guys know the drill. Please subscribe to the channel. That helps out huge and costs you absolutely nothing. You can also support the show on Patreon. Thank you for those of you who do. Remember, this is real independent media. You'll never see me doing an ad read or talking to an advertiser. I'm very proud of that, and you guys made that possible. You can also sign up for Crystal Kyle and Friends on Substack. We have Kat Abu Ghazaleh coming on this week. She's been on the front lines protesting ICE. She's, of course, running for Congress, and she may be our next AOC here, basically. So definitely tune in to that this week. Oh, we also had Abdullah El Sayed on last week. Definitely check that out. He could be the next Zoran. So that was a great interview. You don't want to miss that one either. And go subscribe to Corin's World so you get the live Kyle and Corin episodes. All right, guys, I'll see you back here tomorrow. Everybody enjoy the rest of your day as much as you can in this fascist hellscape. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.